Hello, good morning, and welcome to the Breakfast Cafe, your daily dose of inspiration and motivation. I am Olumide Shokoya, looking very dapper. And of course, I have my co-pilot here. Well, we seem to be having something matching, but welcome, Vivian.
Right. Yeah, you pointed out. I didn't even notice. It's true. We are doing the blue thing today.
The blue thing
yeah,
today.
but that doesn't mean we have the blues. I can promise you that. And you are welcome to the show this morning. Like Olumide said, I am Vivian Oguche, and this promises to be another bumper edition. So we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll serve you some etiquettes. Stay with us. Visiting etiquette is what we are talking about today, and just for the benefit of those just joining us, this is the Breakfast Cafe right here on High Impact TV. Vivian and Olumide in the house. So, visiting etiquette refers to the behaviors and manners that help ensure a smooth and respectful interaction when you visit someone's home, event, or space. Following these guidelines can make your host feel appreciated and respected, creating a positive experience for everyone involved. Here are key points to keep in mind when it comes to visiting etiquette.
Yes, the first one, which I always like, except you are my younger brother or sister, please notify me before
Oh my gosh. How about your better half?
Oh, well, yes, better half. Exactly. Those are the people who get to show up unannounced.
Yeah.
But usually, number one, notify before arriving. Give a message, send a message that, oh, I'm on my way, or I'm coming over, or something. Even when you are about to leave or you're about to get there, I'm on my way, I'm almost there. So that the person is aware in case, he or she has to make certain arrangements and all that. Now, it is courteous to inform your host of your visit in advance. Dropping by unexpectedly can inconvenience your host, so it is always better to check if it's a good time, of course, to the agreed time. Now, respect the time you have agreed upon, whether for arrival or departure. Being significantly early or late can disrupt plans. Yes, so arrive on time, and please do not overstay your welcome.
All right.
Bring a gift. This is something that it's something that we need to even be practicing more. Bring a gift whenever you're going to see someone. It's always it doesn't matter how much or the price of what you brought. It could just be a drink. It could even be fruits.
Yeah.
Yes, fruits are very good.
Could be some guava or apple or groundnut.
Exactly. Bring something so that the person knows that, oh, this person is actually appreciative enough. Now, but it says here it's optional, but it's also a gesture. Now, while it's not mandatory, bringing a small gift such as a bottle of wine, flowers, or homemade treat is a nice gesture, especially for formal visitors or dinner invitations. The host preferences.
I want you to pause a little bit. You said this gesture you just talked about, like bringing a gift, is especially for formal visits or dinner invitations. I wanted us to specify that.
Yes. Dinner invitations is also it's also good when you bring something so that you don't look like a glutton. Now, the next one, the host preference. Choose something your host would appreciate, like their favorite snack or a useful household item. That's good. Now, respect the host home shoes if asked.
Okay, do you want to take that again? You respect the host's home.
Oh, homes.
Yeah. You respect the host's home, and then it goes on to say, remove your shoes if asked.
If asked, definitely.
Yeah. Because go ahead.
Because if you're entering a house with a rug, except the host tells you, oh, come in. It is always courteous to remove your shoes.
Or if there's a foot mat, you can now dust your shoes off.
Especially if it was raining, or your shoes might have,
picked up some mud.
And all that. It won't sound very nice.
Yeah.
Now, some hosts prefer guests to take up their shoes at the door, especially when you see a doormat and you know what to do. It is polite to ask if you should, and always follow the host's preference. Now, there are house rules. If the host has specific house rules, e.g., no smoking. I mean, why would you even want to do that? No use of certain areas.
But in the West, the West, they do it.
They do.
And then you have ashtrays. The host will even produce ashtrays.
But it's also good to ask
It's
first.
good to ask.
So that,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, you could have children, even if the host doesn't mind, you could have children around, and you don't want to be doing that in front of children. Now, try to leave the space as you found it. Not just the room, the bathroom, the,
Yes.
the restroom. I mean, the kitchen. Please always try and leave it the way you found it, because it's not something nice when you enter the bathroom and you're seeing soap stains and, you know, and foams and all that. And you're seeing dishes used, not washed, and all that. It gives a very bad impression of who you are. Now, let's quickly move on and see what we have there. It also says here, now, following these guidelines, you can make your host feel appreciated, respected, and experience, and also let the person know that, yes, you do appreciate the person. Let me stop here. Now, there's something I always feel. I don't know whether you felt it. Sometimes I just don't feel like having guests around. I'm so comfortable in my own space. So when I hear someone is coming over, I feel like it's an adjustment for me. I have to accommodate this person.
I feel like that all the time. I like doing me.
And I always like it when it's not more than a night. So I'm back
This is
to my
frank
old
talk.
space.
I'm telling you, yeah, it's good. I mean, it's okay if you are honest, right?
Yes.
You want it just one night, there is a reason why. So it's important for a guest not to overstay their welcome. That's what you're saying.
And
right?
I always also have this feeling, no matter where I am, I don't feel that comfortable until I'm at home. I don't feel as comfortable as I am when I'm at home.
There is nowhere like home. Even when they say a hotel is a way away from home, your home is your home, is your space.
You feel at peace. Now, this one says, be considerate with conversations and sensitive topics.
Yeah.
Steer clear of controversial or sensitive subjects, unless you know the host is comfortable with such discussion. Now, in conversation, show interest, even if you don't really like what the person is talking about. Show interest in the host's stories or discussion. It's respectful to be present and participate rather than focusing solely on your phone or food.
It's a total put-off when you focus on your phone. What you're telling the person is their presence is not even important, and it's a no-no. Yeah?
I think you can take this.
All right, let's talk about respecting boundaries, right? Don't overstay your welcome, like Olumide and I talked about earlier on. Pay attention to cues from your host about when it's time to wrap up the visit. Do you have cues like that you give to guests when they've overstayed their welcome?
Well, if they've overstayed their welcome, well,
The body language. You don't.
The body language. I just tell you I want to travel.
Oh my gosh. We heard it. All right, so do not overstay your welcome. Pay attention to cues from your host about when it's time to wrap up the visit. Now, if the host seems tired or starts cleaning up, it might be time to say goodbye. Ask before bringing others. Yes, if you wish to bring a +1, always ask for the host's approval in advance, as additional guests might change the dynamic or space requirements. This is so true. Number 6, express gratitude. Say thank you. Before leaving, express your gratitude verbally. Thanking your host for their hospitality shows appreciation for their effort. Also, follow up. Sending a thank you message or note after the visit can be a nice touch, especially after more formal gatherings like dinners or parties. Number 7, mind your children and pets. This is so true. Supervise dependents. If you're visiting with children or pets, keep a close eye on them to ensure they respect the host's space and belongings. Also, clean up after them. If your child or pet makes a mess, take responsibility and clean it up immediately. Number 8, offer help. Offer to help. Assist with small tasks. Offer to help with tasks like setting the table, clearing dishes, or tidying up. Even if the host declines, the gesture is usually appreciated. On the final note, respect the host's response. If the host prefers to handle things alone, respect their wishes and don't insist. Yeah?
Exactly. I remember when we were little, there was a time we were going out, my brothers and I with my dad and my mom, and we were just about to enter the car and we had visitors. It felt sad.
Oh, God.
And the visitors could actually see our
reaction.
expression. So even my dad's friend was like, no, let's just go that. I can see your children are already asking themselves, why did these people come at this point?
So
and
what
we were
happened?
Just they left.
They left, and you and your dad went to where
We
you were
went
going to
out,
go.
yes.
Wow. So this is a safe place for us to land. Yeah. So we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll take a look at the national dailies. Stay with us. It is the Breakfast Cafe right here on High Impact TV. I am Vivian Oguchen. Right opposite me is Olumide Shokoya. This segment is where we're going to take a look at the national dailies. And Olumide, would you do the honors of starting?
Yes, let's start off with the Punch newspaper. Still talking about the PDP as the National Executive Council are meeting today. The headline says, PDP crisis, anti-Damagum plot thickens as the National Executive Council meets Thursday. That's tomorrow. One writer to that story, PDP governors, NWC, Board of Trustee members meet. Fresh legal battle continues on NEC meeting. It's a whole lot as the PDP shop for their chairman of the party and all that. It's a whole lot. And I hope they're able to sort this out right before 2027 because they need to get their acts together. They need to be able to solve whatever internal crisis they are. If they even stand a chance to go against with the current administration, the APC administration.
Yeah.
So they really need to get
You
this.
know, one of the weaknesses of the PDP, which happens to be the major opposition party, is always this internal wrangling that you talked about. Remember the emergence of the G5?
The G5.
Once upon a time. Remember the emergence of the new PDP when you had former Senate President Saraki and all of that.
Yes.
And this always weakens them during elections. I do hope that they are able to get their acts together.
I really do. Yeah. Now we have a picture here, as you can see. I mean, you already know what's really what's happening there. This is the Oya Dam. Yeah. Operators under pressure over rising boat demands in flooded communities. As you can see, I mean, children. These are children, I think, on their way to school, and this is very palatable. I mean, it's not palatable rather to see children. I mean, what if the boat capsizes and what happens? I mean, it's really bad. But let's quickly move on and see what we have on the Punch newspaper this morning. We have this one. Naira for crude, Dangote gets NNPCL's first supply. So we're back at it again.
All right.
Moving on, we have local government autonomy. Federal government plans sanctions against defaulting state. Yes, there's still a whole lot going on. And beside that, well, another one from the IMF, International Monetary Fund. Nigeria still borrowing amid high debt cost. I think this is the first honest statement from the IMF.
Because you detect the tone of this statement. IMF is saying you're highly indebted and you are still borrowing. IMF, by the way, is the International Monetary Fund. And the tone is totally different from that of the World Bank,
yes,
which has been in support of President Tinubu's economic reform and borrowing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Now, below that, we have two stories. It says 55,859 PVCs collected. INEC extends exercise to local government. That's on page 3. And below that, we have no improved infrastructure since Labour Party's exit. This is coming from Ebiseni. That's on page 3 on the Punch newspaper. We have 3 more stories to go. This one is says here, federal government bans cooking gas export over rising prices. Federal government bans cooking gas export over rising prices. The price of cooking gas these days, I think, is about 1,005 per kilogram.
And you know the crazy thing about this is that Nigeria has gas in abundance. There is no reason why the prices should be high. There is no reason why there should be a shortage of cooking gas. But I like the fact that the federal government is banning the export of gas.
I mean, it makes you wonder what's going to happen eventually when we start going, when we convert to CNG,
Yeah.
and there's a report of an explosion, a car that exploded in a particular filling station, it's really quite sad. Now, beside that, we have another one. How Bobrisky spent night in FCID female cell. It has to do with Bobrisky being arrested by the immigration and all that. Now, beside that, we have 250 billion naira debt. Telco seek NCC approval to stop bank transfer services. I think that's on page 19, and that's all we have right now, coming from the Punch newspaper this morning.
Okay, let's take a look at the Daily Trust. If we could have that on the screen. The Daily Trust is one very interesting national daily. Thank you, producers. Millers, barbers, tailors deplore massive blackout in the north. That's the major headline there. Number of riders, power outage grounds, business activities. Minister raises committee to investigate grid collapse. And the third rider declares state of emergency in electricity sector.
Spot on.
Spot on, I can tell you.
Declare an emergency in the electricity sector, because this thing has been happening in just moved to ban. I keep wondering, maybe it's as a result of us moving to ban A and ban B, and this is when we started having this crisis, because we weren't having this grid collapse frequently, but nowadays it's like, nowadays anytime they take light, like yesterday, the day before yesterday, they took light till yesterday. So I personally, I thought that the grid had collapsed. That was why I was asking a lot of people in the office that, what happened? You guys have power, but that's our new reality. I don't know what else we can do.
Experts have been saying there should be a total overhaul of the equipment. They're obsolete. Right.
Exactly.
So maybe, like you said, because there is more generation now, more transmission now, maybe it is the case of an overload or something.
I think so.
Declare total emergency, state of emergency in that sector. Well, let's go on with stories on the front page of the Daily Trust. If we could have it on the screen, I appreciate it a lot. Right. Above the masthead, Nigeria-Libya saga. CAF may decide case today. Beside that, 19 die in Plateau auto crash. That was very unfortunate. Our hearts go out to the family of the deceased. Tinubu to Nigerians buy petrol at 1,000 naira per litre, or CNG at 200 naira per meter. Lumide, did you get that?
Where's the CNG itself? And are you saying, suffer to buy 1,000 naira per litre, or you get CNG? Where's the CNG? The CNG is not even there.
And then people who are even trying to make this conversion are saying that the conversion kit is very expensive, and they're calling for subsidies. So I would implore our government to actually look into this. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's continue with the front page of the Daily Trust. This other story here says IMF downgrades Nigeria's growth prospect to 2.9%. That's rather worrying. This other story says mother, let's see now, that's unfortunate, very unfortunate. Mother, sons shot as hoodlums attack FCDA director's apartment. Very unfortunate. Below that, a new chapter begins, says Farouk Lawan, after leaving Kuje prison. You remember Farouk Lawan? Yeah, the very unpopular senator, once upon a time, lawmaker, beg your pardon. He's out of Kuje prison now, and he says...
It's been a while.
Been a while, he says, new beginnings. Farouk Lawan underwent investigation that involves corruption. He was found guilty, was in prison, now out of prisons, and he's declaring new beginning. Every human being has a chance for a new beginning.
Well,
on that note, we wrap it up on the front page of the Daily Trust.
All right, from the Daily Trust, we'll move on to the Guardian newspaper this morning. On the Guardian newspaper, we're back at it again. Federal government seeks IMF's help as flooding and oil output crisis dampen outlook. I think that's what brought about the report that we got from IMF. Federal government is seeking International Monetary Fund help as flooding and oil output crisis. Why are we always seeking help outside the country? Why are we always going out to borrow? It's as if that's the only thing we do now. When there's any crisis, we go ahead and borrow. We go ahead and borrow. Yeah. But you can get more of that story on page 6. And just like the picture we saw on Punch newspaper, we have the same picture on the Guardian newspaper. You can see school children. You can see, I mean, you cannot even tell what's inside this water, the germs, the bacteria, every other thing that they might be prone to as a result of this flood. But this is our new reality. Now, below that, we have this one. It says, lost billions. Why government youth empowerment efforts are failing. Beside that, we have Disco's plan meter phase out may worsen Nigeria's 7 million gap as FCCPC intervenes. Below that, we have TCN urges calm as faulty cables throws knot into darkness. Just like you took earlier on in one of the papers, the knot has been thrown into total darkness, and it's really quite sad. Now, below that, we have Nigeria and others may lose $10.5 trillion to cybercrime next year. Wow, that's quite huge. Now, probate registry issues ultimatum over Herbert Wigwe's estate dispute. That's on Metro page 8. And okay, 2 more stories. We have frequent grid collapse, worsening business outlook. I quite agree with that. Now, federal government ASUU face-off. Can public varsities afford another shutdown? That's $1 billion question. Can we afford another shutdown? I don't think we are ready for that. Now, lastly, Attorney General of the Federation debunks 3 months grace on enforcement of local government autonomy. You can get more of that story on news page 5. And that's all we have from the Guardian newspaper.
Okay, let's quickly take a look at the Vanguard. Yeah, if we can have it on the screen. Thank you. On ending grid collapses threaten survival of businesses. That's coming from the OPS. We also have this rider call for full privatization of power sector. I like it, full privatization. The other one says it hinders economic growth. This is coming from NECA. This is coming from NECA. We also have frustrating for manufacturers. That's coming from MAN. And then we have MER on infrastructural upgrades insufficient. That's coming from also the affected parties, NASIMA. We also have reduces competition of Nigerian businesses. That's coming from ASBON. We have the story too. Labour demands halt. Right? Do you want to continue?
Yes,
that?
Labour demands halt to frequent petrol price increase and others. Well, Labour has been tagged the dog that barks, that doesn't bite.
Yeah.
But let's see how well they can. I know they threatened to go on strike or something. We've not even heard any report, anything else on that. They've called out the government to reverse this petrol price increase, but we've not seen any action. We've not seen anything from Labour. They themselves, they have their own crisis that they are dealing with. But let's quickly move on from that. We have another one here. It says 5% excise tax. Telcos will soon die.
Is that exercise or excise?
Excise, rather. Telcos will soon die like Nitel and the rest of them. Toriola ones. That's on page 19 of the Vanguard newspaper. Just above that, we have this one. Federal government bans export on LPG as price continues to soar. Now, if gas price continues to go up, there will be no difference from petrol or CNG or cooking gas or what have you. And I feel they really need to put a peg on cooking gas because, I mean, this is something we use at home. If we're buying it the same amount, it's not going to be really funny at all. So we really need to find out what is really going on and all that. Now, we have this one. Edo Government APC Transition Committee heading for showdown. Well, it's quite interesting that this is really happening and all that. But let's see how that pans out. Federal government asks Supreme Court to dismiss suit seeking to declare ESCC illegal.
I mean, I don't even understand why state governors are calling for the EFCC, which is an anti-corruption agency, to be scrapped when Nigeria is battling corruption. Does it even make any kind of sense? Well,
in some report that I read, they said that the state should handle corruption cases within the state. Gosh. That's what they are saying.
But we know what happens. Well, we know what would happen if that becomes the case.
Yes, and all that. But well, let's see how the Supreme Court will handle this. Now, PDP crisis. We've reconciled feuding National Working Committee members. What?
It doesn't look like it.
It doesn't look like
That's
it.
This is coming from
Oyinlola. Yeah. Well, it doesn't look like this. Today, tomorrow, they're going to have a meeting, and just like one of the writers says, we hope that this anti-Damago plot would will be taken care of, and we'll have something better. Now, below that, we have $0.5 million fuel subsidy bribe. Lawan regains freedom. That's on page 6 of the Vanguard newspaper. Now, below that, Nigeria requires purposeful leadership, food security for growth. This is coming from ex-deputy governors. Also, now, below that, we have another one. Okay, we have a picture here for port safety and competitiveness. Now, besides that, or shall I say below that, we have insecurity. Wike issues 5-day quit notice to Abuja street beggars. I saw that speech he made. He was calling out to people who have brothers and sisters who are beggars in Abuja that they should come and take them, that they're going to start, picking them up. Now, if you pick them up, are you going to throw them into the correctional center? What are you going to do about them? He's saying that it's not palatable seeing them on the road, especially when you're entering Abuja. But that's the reality. That's your reality. Are you trying to cover up saying that there are no beggars in Abuja? That Abuja is it's a street paint with gold, silver and gold and all that. If you take them off the street, where are you taking them to?
I like the question. It's a very good one. Where are you going to take them to? You're giving them a 5-day quit notice. 5-day quit notice. Who does that?
They are citizens. They are first citizens of this country. Well, if you don't want them on the street, then you provide a better place for them. But you cannot say they should leave Abuja. They are citizens. They can live anywhere. The Constitution provides that for them. Now, let's move on. We have this one. Nigeria has disappointed Africa and black race. Guess who that is? It's coming from former president.
Have you noticed that he's been spitting fire the past week, like back to back? He's been very vocal. It's like he's pained and he wants to talk.
I think much of which, if you've spent 8 years trying to build a nation, trying to do something, and to see that everything you've worked hard, you've toiled for, went into flames.
Yeah, but Olumide, I've heard a number of analysts say that former President Olusegun is also part of Nigeria's problem. They have accused him of squandering the opportunity he had to make Nigeria a true #1 in Africa. Their words, not mine.
Their words, not mine. Exactly. But let's move on. It says, why IMF slashed Nigeria's economic growth forecast to 2.9%. Wow. And lastly, in the sports section, we have CAF president condemns Super Eagles' inhuman treatment. I like that, but condemning it is not what we want.
Absolutely.
We want a real punishment or something, a reprimand or something towards what happened, so that it will deter other nations or countries from doing the same. But I think that's all we have on the newspaper review now. Let's take a short break, and when we come back, we'll bring in our guest. Stay tuned. Welcome back. It's still the newspaper review. on the Breakfast Cafe. While we wait for our guest, I'd like to look at this particular, the discussion we were having just before we went on break about Olusegun Obasanjo, talking about how experts said that he squandered Nigeria's opportunity to become bigger. I would like you to explain further.
Yeah, you know, he was the first civilian president.
Yes.
After this back-to-back military regime and all of that. He was once a general himself.
Yes.
And he was someone who tasted both sides of the coin, a leader during the military regime and then a civilian. In fact, he was imprisoned.
Yes, he was imprisoned.
He was going to be
executed.
Yes, when he was brought out of prison and made a president. And then he was accused of trying to initiate the third term, you know.
By his vice president, Atiku, because the two of them, you know, were loggerheads and all that.
But apart from that, there were a number of other things that people had accused him of. But this is not to underplay what the former president had done. He was the one who privatized the, what's it called now, the telecom sector.
Yes.
The communication sector. Now you have everybody, there's almost all Nigerians have a, what's it called, a mobile phone.
A mobile phone.
That was because of former President Obasanjo.
Yes.
So it's mixed, it's a mixed bag. Right, it's different strokes for different folks. But when our guests comes on board, would run this by.
I think he was also, some people accused him that the establishment of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission was like a way to witch hunt his enemies, quote unquote. But let's take Michael from Abuja. Good morning, Michael. Welcome to the program. Michael, are you there? I think we lost.
Yes, I'm with you.
All right, go ahead.
I want to comment on this headline that Wike gives 5 days ultimatum to street vendors in Abuja.
Go ahead.
Yes, you were saying that they are first-class places where we dare go to. Those people came from a state to Abuja. If you see most of them in Abuja, they are from particular state of the country, so they have a state.
Okay.
The state governors can welcome their citizens and know what to do with them and how to place them, because they are a federal capital territory, not just a state, but a federal capital territory. So they have a standard that should be maintained. If you people travel, you go to other countries, you see those things, you see the way things are done. So they have a state. If begging is just the only occupation they came to Abuja, let them go and establish themselves in their state and do it better. Because you see some of them, they are not just begging for themselves. They have people. If you come out in Abuja as early as 5:30, you see them on a particular position. How did they come out as early as that time? How did they go back? They have people bringing them and taking them back who they beg to remit money for. So it's just like more of a business. So there should be a standard in FCT, not just because of, say, they are first-time citizens that should be treated. Yes, they are first-class citizens. They have a state where they come from. Let them do other business in FCT, not begging. So, okay, for instance, there was a time this will become a normal thing in Abuja. You are driving, you see cows crossing the main express. You have to wait. You have to be at Airport Road.
Yes.
This is where people come into Abuja. Airport Road. We will have to wait for some 30 minutes. What was happening wasn't an accident. It was a cow crossing the main express road on the airport road. So those things should be controlled because of they are first-class citizens. And you see those guys following them, they were just looking at you. They are not even in a hurry to cross. So all those things should be welcome because they are first-class citizens. They should be covered in everything.
Thank you very much, Michael. Michael actually gave us a solution. He said that the governors should come and pick them, which is quite not bad. I mean, if Wike wants to, that's why I said, where are you going to take them to? Okay. If you say, okay, the governors should come and pick their properties, well...
No, but if you're saying the governors of these beggars have states to go to and the governors should come pick them up, then Wike should liaise with the governors and then have them make preparations and then take them back home. But he's giving them a 5-day quick notice. That's my grouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's welcome our guest. He is Honorable Jaji, Lanre Jaji. He is the president of the People's Parliamentary. Good morning, and it's always refreshing to have you on the program.
Good morning, my sister. Good morning, my brother. It's nice being here with you people.
Morning, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm sure you heard the caller we just spoke to talking about the 5-day ultimatum Wike gave street beggars in Abuja. Let's start there. Let's have your thoughts. What do you think?
Well, actually, one would have been very comfortable with that, Wike's pronouncement, because in the first place, these people are Nigerians. 5 days ultimatum will have been, too short for any preparation, even by any government or by individuals who want to evacuate him or herself from a particular place to another place. I mean, we'll have given a, bigger time so that, good preparations will have been there. Even if I were to be the governor of Ogun State and I have beggars, in Abuja, and Wike said I should come and evacuate them within 5 days, logistically, I'm likely to fail. I mean, it would require some, bureaucratic, attentions that, okay, I mean, who is the commissioner for special duties? I mean, what are we going to do? Are we going to send buses? Are we going to send planes? What are the logistics to be put in place so that, I mean, at the end of the day, the program does not fail? I mean, where are we going to put them? Are we going to try to quickly, probably create, a camp, for them so that, it's going to be accommodated? A lot of things have to be put in place. I mean, that is what we call governance.
Yes.
So, but in a situation where we want to give a fire brigade approach to everything, it's not going to work.
Very well said, sir. Thank you so much. There's another story, too, that's come on if you take a look at all the front pages of the national dailies. The IMF saying that Nigeria is highly indebted but still borrowing. And then we also have the federal government saying they want to borrow more monies from the IMF to tackle flooding. So this is my question, sir. When this administration came on board, it said that the economy, Nigeria was bankrupt. And so it removed fuel subsidy so that government can save more money. Over the time, over the months, over 1 year since this administration came on board, we've heard them say that government has much more money in its coffers now. What is it doing with these monies it has saved? Why is it still asking for more money from all of these foreign bodies?
Well, in the first place, I don't know why President Tinubu is borrowing money. I mean, recently, I don't know how far that statement is true. It was, announced that, the former CBN governor, in person of Emefiele, returned, over 2-3 trillion money. I mean, amount of money. Well, we don't know how to really substantiate that. But notwithstanding, if IMF, as a body, is complaining that Nigeria is so much indebted and we are still indebting, we are still, wanting to get more debts, we need to be very careful so that we don't just, put ourselves into a lot of problems. You see, strategically, government just need to see what they can be able to do. We have to be a manufacturing country. We have to see what we can be able to do. All this flooding of the thing, agriculture alone can do a lot of things for us. We have said it times without number that government should go into agriculture, full-fledged mechanized farming should be done. We can export a lot of agricultural products outside Nigeria that can give us foreign earnings. With that, we don't need debt. We can do a lot of things with anything that we are going to earn. But in a situation where we keep on, accumulating debts, and this debt too, personally, I cannot say this is what we are using the money for. There are invisible things that, we will, at the end of the day, they will still be telling us that we are indebted. So we need to be very careful. We need to be strategic and proactive.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Larry Jaji. Now, there's a rising cost in cooking gas, and government are even planning to place a ban on the export of cooking gas. Side by side that, President Tinubu has told Nigerians to either buy a fuel for 1,000 naira per litre or buy gas for 200 naira per meter. Now, so the question is, if cooking gas or gas itself, CNG or whatever we have, that will not even, most people have not converted, and people are also complaining that the test kits are quite expensive. How do we even get out of this if there's rising cost in price of gas?
Well, the point now is, in those days, I used to see gas being flared in Nigeria.
Yes.
If you are flaring gas and now you are now selling for your people at a very exorbitant price, it doesn't really work out. It doesn't really, tally. So what we are going to say now is that President Tinubu should still try and reduce the price of fuel, reduce the price of gas. If you are flaring it, why is now selling it? Now is an opportunity for you to compass this gas into a bottle. If possible, give it to our cheaper prices or cheaper rates to the people of the country. this, I mean, oil of a thing too, or oil of a thing that we are complaining to. The case is a case of somebody that has a big cow in his house. He has slaughtered it and decided to be eating bones, left, you know, the meaty aspect of the cow, untouched. I mean, we are not supposed to be suffering for what we have. It's not supposed to be. If, you know, people really don't really get the system of governance now, they can change the style of governance. You know, I've tried a particular system and it's not working for you. Please try another one. We have a lot of highly cerebral, intelligent Nigerians that can do a lot of things, that can reason for Mr. President, that can collaborate with Mr. President to give Nigerians the best of all the best that we so much deserve. We just need to change the strategy.
Very well said. Yeah.
Before you come on, I would like to ask again, do you think Nigeria is capable, first of all, do you think Nigeria should, shall I say, transform or move from oil production to gas? And if, do you think Nigeria also is capable of being able to produce gas for, not just for consumption, but also for, not just for cooking rather, but also for vehicles? Do you think we have the capacity to do that?
We have the capacity. There is no capacity that Nigeria does not have. It is only the will without to really want to do it. The political will for the leader to really want to take a decisive decision to say, this is what I'm going to do. You know, look at what we have been talking about, you know, oil of everything. When we had the opportunity of the oil boom, we were supposed to have diversified into a lot of, you know, things that we don't need to start depending on oil now. If guy is not taking, I mean, if oil of a thing is not well consumed, it's no more going to be consumed in the international community, where are we going to get our source of funding from? So we need to, and the time is now. It's because we are more really diverse. There is nothing Nigeria is not capable of doing, my brother. I must confess to you. It is the will or the capacity of the person in charge to be able to show his capacity that I can do this and everything is possible here.
In fact, Honorable, former President Olusegun Obasanjo has accused this administration of poor implementation of policies. But let me draw your attention to one of the headlines that's a common denominator this morning. It's about the PDP and its internal wrangling. How does the PDP stand a chance of becoming a major opposition party if it continues to fight itself?
It's not going to be possible. And that is why we are not having it good in Nigeria presently. A good political setup requires a very strong opposition that will be able to keep the government of the day running, not walking, running and jumping, you know, so that by the time you really give it to them, you can see what Lai Mohammed did for PDP, I mean, when they were there.
Yeah. You
know, he gave them word for word, money for money, tackling for tackling. Nobody is doing that. That is why the government of the day is just having a free day. But in a situation where the PDP is not settled, his home is not settled, so how will they be able to concentrate and probably give a very proper, good opposition to the present government? It's not going to be possible. So the best thing for PDP is just to see a situation where they can align together, collaborate together, come together, unite together, and see what they can be able to give a very good matching opposition to this present government, so that this government of the day can sit tight and do the needful.
All right, thank you very much. I'd like to draw your attention to this one from the Vanguard. Federal government asks Supreme Court to dismiss suit seeking to declare EFCC illegal. I know about more than 20 governors in different states have taken the EFCC to court. What's your take on this? Is this even logical in the first place?
It is not. I mean, it's just like, you know, telling somebody not to touch light into what you are doing, which means your hands are not clean. So, I mean, if you know you've been doing the proper thing, there is no point asking somebody not to beam his torchlight into your activities. I mean, it's not going to be possible. I mean, Baba Obasanjo created EFCC and he has his reason for creating it. Yes, I mean, EFCC might not be performing up to expectation as at now, but I must confess to you, they are still giving the check and balances that, you know, this country really requires. If not, a lot of decadence, a lot of things will have, you know, gone down that debris that, you know, it will be irredeemable for anybody to come and, you know, take care of in future. Because in a situation where you think I'm the governor of the state, I have the ability to spend my, you know, earnings and my, you know, allocation from the federal government anyhow the way I so much wanted, nobody will be sat like, even when I'm in office, even after office, nobody will do anything to me. people will be reckless with spending. Thank God EFCC is there, ICPC are there. Good. I mean, they cannot be scrapped. No sensible court of law will even entertain, such, court case that, okay, go and scrap EFCC. Or where? It's not possible.
Which brings me to another question. It is mind-boggling, almost like rocket science, the fact that we have an ex-governor, Yahaya Bello, still in this country, and the EFCC have not been able to arrest him. And it almost seems like he has some invincible powers that are protecting him. But what's your take on this? Why is it that he has been able to evade arrest for so long?
Well, this is Nigeria. Anything can happen. And apart from that, we have to be law-abiding citizens. We are not in Puerto Rico or whatever, island that, that you can just do anything that you like. You must respect the rule of law. The law does not say somebody should just go there and bomb Yahaya Bello anyhow. It has processes. And I'm sure EFCC is trying to, follow those processes. It's not that EFCC is weak. I mean, it's not that the court of laws are weak. This is a country that, the rule of law must be followed. The constitution of the country must be followed. You still have some fundamental human rights as a citizen of this country, to face the court of law, the way it should be allowed, the court process and the process itself, must be allowed to really come to play. That is what is happening. It's not that Yahaya Bello is too big or is too powerful or probably some invisible hands are the one preventing him. At the end of the day, if he has cases to answer, Yahaya Bello will still face the court of law and he will be definitely be prosecuted.
Let's push this further a little bit. Earlier on, Olumide and I were talking about former President Olusegun, those are for Olusegun Obasanjo, those that are for him and against him. Now, one of the things Olumide talked about is how the EFCC was formed. And some analysts have said that former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who formed the EFCC, did it because he wanted to witch hunt his political opponents. Would you agree with that? And would you also pass a vote of confidence on the EFCC if your answer is a no to that question?
In the first place, yes, Mr. Former President might have probably created the EFCC to tackle his political opponents and even the friends within him. I mean, for the mere fact that you are a friend to President Obasanjo does not mean that he cannot deal with you. If he wants to deal with you, he will deal with you. He has dealt with lots of people, dining with them, having dinner with them at the end of the day, telling them to resign, and he will show you your scorecard. Mr. President, if you don't resign, I mean, these are your activities that you have done wrong. The FCC will come after you. My brother, you resign quickly. That is that. Number two, I don't believe the FCC, is not doing wonderfully well. They might not have been doing perfectly well, but I must confess to you, it's a very good organization that is checkmating a lot of excesses that a lot of people will have done or committed a lot of crime that nobody will have checkmated them since. So EFCC, I have confidence in them. They can still do better. They can improve on what they are doing. For the mere fact that that former president said he probably created it to reach his enemies or whatever, what he has created is really something that we really needed now in Nigeria.
Okay.
All right. I think that's what we can take for now. Thank you very much, Honorable Lanre Jaji. It's good to have you, and of course, we would definitely like to have you again.
It's my pleasure. God bless you for having me.
Okay. All right. One thing I wanted to also mention is that the EFCC arresting Yahaya Bello would have been one of their biggest cases. If they can do that, it will really make people, it will also build self-confidence, to build trust in the people, in the minds of the people, that yes, these guys can actually go after an ex-governor. It seems as if going after an ex-governor these days is something almost impossible. I remember, yes, some ex-governors were arrested by the EFCC and tried by the EFCC during the former administration of Muhammadu Buhari, which he gave pardon to and all that. But if truly they can And it was even mind-boggling to see that Yahaya Bello went to the FCC office and they could not arrest him, and they said because he came in the company of Governor, what's his name, the governor of Kogi State.
The incumbent governor, who has been shielding him. But this thing about Yahaya Bello and the EFCC is not over yet.
Okay.
So who's to say that an arrest will not happen? But also to mention that just this week, a former governor of Kwara State was arrested by the EFCC.
By the EFCC. Well, let's see how he will be tried and he will have his day in court. That's the beauty of the EFCC. That's why it was created, for it to be able to go after people who have mismanaged money and embezzled money, and have their day in court. That builds confidence in the minds of the people. This is how much we can take on the newspaper review. Let's go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue with the Breakfast Cafe. Stay tuned.
As a child, what is most important to you is love, warmth, acceptance, and security. But as you grow, there is a paradigm shift in the way you approach life. The interest you lose in some things, you pick in other things. Sometimes, the road is smooth. Other times, it is rough. Every step of the way comes with a new hurdle to scale. You win some, you lose some. You laugh hard, you cry hard, but at the end, you look back with a fulfilling smile and say, "What a ride." High Impact Television equips you with what you need every step of the way.
The Congo River, formerly the Zaire River, a river in West Central Africa, with a length of 2,900 miles, it is the continent's second longest river after the Nile. It rises in the highlands of northeastern Zambia between lakes Tanganyika and Nyasa in Malawi as the Chambeshi River at an elevation of 5,760 feet above sea level and at a distance of about 430 miles from the Indian Ocean. Its course then takes the form of a gigantic counterclockwise arc, flowing to the northwest, west, southwest before draining into the Atlantic Ocean at Banama or Banani in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Its drainage basin, covering an area of 1,333,000 square miles, takes in almost the entire territory of that country, as well as most of the Republic of the Congo, the Central African Republic, Eastern Zambia, the Northern Angola, and parts of Cameroon and Tanzania. With its many tributaries, the Congo forms the continent's largest network of navigable waterways. Navigability, however, is limited by an insurmountable obstacles, a series of 32 cataracts over the river's lower course, including the famous Inga Falls. These cataracts rendered the Congo unnavigable between the seaport of Matadi at the end of the Congo history, and Malibo, a lake-like expansion of the river. It was on the opposite banks of Malibo, which represent the point of departure of inland navigation, that the capital of the former states of the French Congo and the Belgian Congo were founded. On the left bank, Kinshasa, formerly called Leopoldville, now the capital of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and on the right bank, Brazzaville, now the capital of the Republic of the Congo. The Amazon and the Congo are the two great rivers of the world that flows out of equatorial zones where heavy rainfall occurs throughout all or almost all of the year. Upstream from Malibo, the Congo Basin receives an average of about 60 inches of rain a year, of which more than 1/4 in discharge into the Atlantic Ocean. The drainage basin of the Congo is, however, only about half the size of the Amazon, and the Congo rate is 1,450,000 cubic feet, that is 41,000 cubic meters per second. At its mouth is considerably less than the Amazon flow of more than 6,180,000 cubic feet per second. While the Chambeshi River, as the Mutazers may form the Congo's original mainstream in terms of the river's length, it is another tributary, the Lualaba, which rises near Msofi in Southern Democratic Republic of the Congo, that carries the greatest quantity of water and thus may be considered as forming the Congo's original mainstream in terms of water volume. When the river first became known to the Europeans at the end of the 15th century, they called it the Zaire, a corruption of a word that is variously given as Nzari, Nzali, Njali, Nzadi, and Nyadi, and that simply means river in local African languages. It was only in the early years of the 18th century that the river was first called the Rio Congo, a name taken from the Kingdom of Congo that had been situated along the lower course of the river. During the period of 1971 to 1997, when the Democratic Republic of the Congo was called the Zaire, the government also renamed the river the Zaire. Even during that time, however, the river continued to be known throughout the world as the Congo. To the literary minded, the river is evocative of the famous 1902 short story Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. His book conjured up an atmosphere of foreboding, treachery, greed, and exploitation. Today, however, the Congo appears as the key to the economic development of the Central African interior.
It's the Breakfast Cafe right here on High Impact TV. I am Vivian Oguche, and right opposite me is Olumide Shokoya. And this segment is a very interactive one. It's called Views from the Net. We push out the question on social media, and we have you make your contributions. You can also call and tell us what you think. Now, this is a question. Which language do you wish you could speak fluently? Give reasons, and of course tell us exactly why you would like to speak that language. Olumide, do you have a language you would like to speak?
3 languages. Locally, I would have loved to be able to speak Hausa.
Yeah.
Because when I stayed in Abuja, a lot of people, especially when I meet Hausa people, they speak Hausa to me. They believe that I understand Hausa, even till now. So I would have loved to, and I kind of like the language. I think I would also I would have loved to speak French. I like their, their accent, the way they pronounce words, and even the British, proper British, not the Nigerians that go abroad after 6 months and they start saying, yeah, in it. No. I mean, real British English. I love their accent. It's beautiful.
All right, so let me do 3 like you just did. So I speak just a little Hausa. I'd love to speak Hausa fluently. I just love the language. 2, I'd like to speak Spanish. Spanish is the language of love. I'd like to speak it fluently. And French, of course. That's what I would like. But let's find out what our respondents are saying. Arabic, right? Arabic. Arabic is what's this? Arabic?
I think so, yes.
Because my dad is an Arabic scholar?
Yes.
All right, so I've been learning everything about Arabic right from birth till this time, and also myself being an Islamic scholar. I must understand the language to some heights. Amenula Belu from Ogba, Lagos. Thank you so much.
All right, this is Dorcas from Nasarawa State. She says, Igbo. Igbo is because I love and I wish I could speak the language. That's Dorcas from Nasarawa State.
Yeah, Hausa and French. French of transactions, I don't know what that is now, but Hausa and French. This is Ayo from Ibadan.
Now, this one says that the first, okay, let me take this one. I would like to speak Hindi. I love their language. Their words is unique. This is Jay Daniels from Lagos.
Okay, but before that, I think we have Caris from Benin. Caris says Spanish. I love the Spanish language. That's Caris from Benin. And then you already took Jay Daniels.
Yes.
Yeah, let's continue to get more of the contributions. After Jay Daniels, who do we have?
Yes, we have Damilola from Lagos. Now, Damilola says, Hausa language. I always love living and communicating around them because I don't know their language denied me the advantage of living within them. Yes, I also felt that way at a point when I was staying in Abuja. I always wanted to, be around them and just be able to communicate with them. And they seem like very good, jovial people, and they have this bond. And I think once you speak Hausa, they welcome you to them. You're like a brother. You're like their own brother, so they embrace you and all that. So I think I would have loved also to speak Hausa.
Okay, could you go on with the next
Now,
one?
the next one is Norris. Norris from Delta State. Norris is quite adamant. He says, I know they speak anything except in our money language. So Norris doesn't want to learn any language. The only language he speaks or wants to speak is money language. The next one is Chidi. Now, Chidi from Onitsha. Now, he says, I wish I could speak Chinese fluently. Just imagine me bargaining at Alaba Market in Chinese. No one would dare cheat me again.
Okay, Chidi, that's Chidi from Onitsha. I'm trying to picture this scenario in my mind right now, and it's very amusing. I can tell you, bargaining in Chinese, awesome. But this one says, I want to learn French well so I can show off at weddings. I'll just drop merci beaucoup anyhow, and they'll think I'm so international. This is Joy from Ibadan.
The French, they have this poise appearance. They look very tush, they look very posh, they look very sophisticated. You just believe everything around them is just classy. So that's the feeling of being able to speak French. Now this one, Kunle from Ikeja, says, honestly, I like to speak Spanish just like you. I feel like if I said hola, on a Lagos bus, everyone would just look at me with respect.
Oh gosh, that's Kunle from Ikeja.
Yes.
Are you sure they'll look at you with respect? Some might go, what's he saying?
What's he saying?
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, this is Ugochi from Akure. I want to speak Yoruba fluently, so my mom will stop laughing at me whenever I try. She's tired of my miomo. Okay, I'm guessing she says miomo or something like that. I don't know. All the time rather. So Ugochi would like to speak Yoruba.
You know why? Ugochi is Igbo.
Yeah, she's Igbo.
So the mom would rather have her speak what now?
Maybe the mom is Yoruba. Maybe she had mixed parents.
Yeah,
Maybe the mom
I
is
think
Yoruba
so.
and the father is Igbo.
That's Ugochi
She
from Akure.
So I'm guessing maybe either the mom or the father is probably Yoruba. And
Absolutely.
She would have loved to speak that.
Well, Blessing says, I wish I knew Korean, right? That way I wouldn't need subtitles for K-dramas. I can relate. And then Blessing says, I could impress my friends with random phrases. Blessing from Blessing from Calabar. I wish you could give us an example of these random phrases, but it's good. Thank you, Blessing.
Now this one is Shola from Ibadan. I says I would like to speak German just to make my neighbors think I'm always up to something serious. Now, Guten Morgen, I guess, sounds like I have secret plans. This is Shola from Ibadan. Well.
It's hilarious. Thank you, Shola. You made me laugh. This one says, if I could speak Swahili, it would just be my new flex. Imagine me flirting with someone in Swahili. They wouldn't see it coming. This is Ahmed from Kano. You guys are something else.
All right, we have Ifoma from Enugu. It says, I want to learn better Pidgin. Wow, that's refreshing. Even though I already know a bit. Imagine dropping slang that no one can decode. I'll get premium respect. I guess maybe in Aba, Onitsha, or in all those places.
Are you kidding me? Even in Lagos, don't you know that people speak Pidgin and they are paid money? There are TV stations and radio stations that's just purely Pidgin. Now, if you're very fluent at it, you get the worry kind. Conk one. You get paid big bucks. I like it. This one says, Italian is on my mind. The language just has this romantic vibe. Like I'm always one step away from starting an opera. This is David from Abuja. David, you are so right. Thank you.
I like this one. This one says, I would love to speak Japanese so I can yell. No, I can't pronounce it.
Let's try it. Itadakimasu.
Itadakimasu. I like that. Before eating.
Yeah.
It just makes food sounds more interesting. Yes, it's quite interesting if you can actually speak Chinese, Korean, and all that.
Amaka, I like Amaka's sense of humor.
I'm guessing she must have watched a lot of Chinese movies,
Japanese movies, Korean dramas,
Korea and all that. So she would have, been fascinated with that. It's quite interesting, and to even have a black person speak Chinese, probably even travel to Japan, Korea, and all these places, and speak their language. It would be quite interesting. They would really, welcome you, and they'll be, glad that someone. I know it's just the way we see white people. I saw a video yesterday of a pure British woman eating, I think, what seems to be either fufu or inyo pounded yam. And she was speaking Yoruba fluently, and she was eating it, I think, at her workplace. She was eating it with, I think, okra or something, and she was speaking Yoruba. You wouldn't even tell. You can't tell that she's white. It was beautiful to watch.
Wow.
Very beautiful to watch.
I like what you just said, because you see, just like a Nigerian will find it fascinating to hear a British speak a Nigerian language fluently. Same way, when you see an Englishman hear a black man speak fluent English, they're fascinated. That is too commonplace. Let's say you go to Japan and you have a Nigerian or a black speak Japanese fluently. It's fascinating.
It's very fascinating.
Yeah.
Same with Spanish or Italian or even French. I would like to see a Nigerian speak French fluently. I mean, really fluent.
Yeah.
I know
but there are lots of Nigerians who speak fluent French.
I know some words, they skip certain letters. I think they skip T, the different names, like they skip certain words. British too. I think British, they skip the letter T and S. So when they say British, they say British.
Ah.
British.
Yeah, but you do know, are you sure?
Sometimes,
Because even in the UK,
Yes.
you have dialects,
Yes, you have dialects, yes.
you know, so some...
You have the Old English.
Exactly. And then you have another part of England that speaks, there's Cockney,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
So it's, it depends on the dialect.
And there's street slang also.
Yeah, absolutely. But let me pick your brains a little bit, though. Which other African language? You talked about Hausa. That happens to be the only African language you would like to learn. But is there another? Would you like to learn Swahili?
I think I would like to learn Ghanaian in a way.
Yeah.
I like that language too. It's quite fascinating. Even though sometimes, you know, when they speak their language, it's almost as if it sounds aggressive sometimes.
Are you
Even
serious?
Chinese too sounds. You know, when you hear people speak, but I've been to Ghana. It's a very lovely place,
Yeah.
and I would have loved to speak their language too, Ghanaian. So it was very easy for me to navigate. But so that means that if anywhere I wanted to go, he has to be beside me. But imagine if I didn't need him to be beside me. I just could speak Ghanaian fluently. I would just, you know, have my. But fine, they speak English there too. But it would just be lovely to speak their own language fluently. You'll be able to navigate anywhere. It's quite interesting.
There's something you said when we started that if you speak Hausa and you are in the north, they just embrace you.
Yes.
I think it works everywhere.
It works everywhere. If you speak their language, they just embrace you very well. I've seen people, Igbo people, even Hausa people, speak Yoruba fluently, and it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Especially those who have stayed in Lagos for quite a while. I remember there was a time I think I went to, I think it was Benue. Yes, Benue. And everybody seems to be speaking their language, the thieves and the Idomos and all that. And, you know, it was quite refreshing to meet someone there who was speaking Yoruba. I was a core member there, and we embraced. I felt at home, like yes, I've seen my people, and all. So it's always quite refreshing to meet someone who can, actually speak your language. And
there's something you said earlier on about one of the languages sounding aggressive. I think it's Chinese.
Yes, Chinese.
Yeah, you see that Japanese word that Amaka from Port Harcourt, she said she wished she could say it before every meal. That was an aggressive one, I can tell you.
Some languages are like, and some languages are very peaceful, soft, like French. When they talk, merci beaucoup. It brings this flavor. It adds flavors to the language, and you feel so good. British too, when you hear people speak, it's soothing to hear people speak. Spanish too.
Spanish.
They have a way of. I think their language, tilts towards romance and all that.
Italian too.
Italians to me, when I think of Italian, I think of the mafias and all that.
Yeah.
But I like that. The Italians too, they are also very homely. They believe in family, they believe in tradition, they believe in togetherness and the brotherhood, sisterhood and everything. Just believe in being together as a whole. They value family. So I like their culture, I like their language also. It's quite, very interesting.
How come nobody mentioned an Indian, something Indian? I mean, in Nigeria, people watch India novellas like there's no tomorrow. So I was shocked nobody said Indian.
Well,
that's just me.
That's just it. But I think this is where we'll wrap it up for Views on the Net. We hope you enjoyed yourself. Stick around, we still have a whole lot more coming up shortly.
Byblos, founded as Kibo by the Phoenicians in some 7,000 years. Byblos received its name from the Greeks, who imported the papyrus from this city in Lebanon. For centuries, the city has been the main exporter of papyrus to Greece. From the 4th millennium BC, the word Bible is derived from Byblos. The main sites of the city are ancient Phoenician temples, Byblos Castle, and the Church of St. John Mark, built by the Crusaders in the 12th century, as well as the medieval Old Town walls. The Byblos International Festival, majorly a musical festival, is a more modern attraction. Located 40 kilometers from Beirut, the city attracts tourists from all over the world, with its unique mix of beaches, mountains, and ancient ruins.
It's the Breakfast Cafe right here on High Impact TV. I am Vivian Uguche, and opposite me is Olumide Shokoya. Now, if you just joined us, you are welcome. Pleasure to have you on board. So this segment is where we talk about topical issues, and today this is it. From protest to progress, has Nigeria learned anything from the hashtag EndSARS? That's the question we're taking a look at today. But let's do a little background to this particular story, and to let you know that in a short while we are going to be having a guest analyst join us. But a little background to this particular story, bearing in mind is that it was just a few days ago when the EndSARS movement was commemorated 4 years on. Right?
Yes, 4 years. And we took the story yesterday, even on trending, of, what's his name? Hassan Soweto,
yes,
who was molested and whatnot. And, well, he had most of them, or all of them, according to him, they have all been released. And some of them who were brutally molested who might seek further redress in court and all that. But let's hear the backstory.
Okay, so the EndSARS movement, which erupted in October 2020, marked a significant turning point in Nigeria's struggle against police brutality and governance failures. Initially sparked by public outrage over the abuses of Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, the protest saw millions of Nigerians demanding an end to police violence and a call for accountability and reform. Now, in the wake of the movement, the Nigerian government promised to disband SARS and initiate reforms within the police force. However, the implementation of these promises has been slow, and many activists continue to face harsh retaliation, including arrest and harassment. The movement has not only raised awareness of police brutality, but has also reinforced the need for good governance, democratic accountability, and the protection of human rights in Nigeria. As we mark 4 years since the protests, it is crucial to ask, has Nigeria truly learned anything from the hashtag EndSARS experience, or has it fallen back into old habits of ignoring citizens' voices? Only the very, very valid questions we're going to be asking our guests when he comes on board.
Yes, yes, it's really a question we need to ask our guests. But let's welcome Femi Adeyeye. He is a political activist and co-convener Fund Education Coalition. So glad to have you, Femi Adeyeye. Femi, are you there? All right, I think we're having a bit of a network issue. But just like you rightly said, have we learned anything from every other thing? And, well, to me, I feel we have not really learned. I mean, looking at what happened on Sunday and every other thing, there's still this bitterness, I would like to call it. You know, let's not mix words together. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. Let me just point. There's this bitterness still in the police force when they see protesters. It's almost like they've not gotten over what happened during EndSARS. But let's welcome Femi Adeyeye. Femi Adeyeye, it's glad to have you.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. So, Femi, before we begin this conversation, let's quickly run this by you. You are in Oyo right now. You are in Oyo State. News just reaching us says that in the Green Chamber, that's the House of Representatives, it has passed second reading that Oyo has been split. Oyo has been split into yes, Oyo and Ibadan. How does that make you feel?
No, just like I'm reacting to it, I'm just laughing.
Yeah.
I think Nigeria does not need more states. We need more viable states. Yeah. You understand? So the ones that are on ground are not functioning yet in what should actually be a true federalism or some kind of federal arrangement. So creating more states is not the solution to anything. For me, I just feel it's some kind of a political arrangement for some people to also get some patronage. You know, this is what they do many times. So Ibadan states or your states, where you now have your town as the capital, that's not it. You see, so, these are people who they wake up one morning and they just feel, oh, there's something else we can use to distract these people, and that's what they do. So let's not bother ourselves with whatever reading or third or fourth or fifth reading that bill is going to. We are going to write a position paper on that.
Yeah.
And definitely we're going to see that bill is killed. There's no point.
Thank you very much. So let's go back to what we're talking about today. We're trying to see if Nigeria has actually learned anything from the NSAS protest 4 years ago. Can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Femi Adeyeye, are you there? Wow, we're having the network seems to be playing a fast one on us this morning.
The network is playing hanky-panky.
Hanky-panky and all that. But, I like his optimism. I like that he says that they might oppose that. They might write a letter to opposing that. I mean, I feel that the fact that a lot of people woke up to this kind of story shows that the people themselves are not being carried along.
Absolutely.
House of Representatives, you are representing people. So are you actually carrying them? Is this what they want or not? So, I mean, that's why you are there. So if people, Femi Adeyeye cannot speak for every other person.
Absolutely.
But if people really do not want this, then I don't see why you should be passing this kind of bill. Since it's still at the second reading, it still has to get to the Senate. Yeah. The Senate has to approve it. Then probably the president also would sign it into law and all that. But before that, I mean, the people, citizens or people living in Oyo State, Ibadan, they have the right to oppose this bill if they do not want it. But going back to NSAS, as I was saying, I said I feel like there's this sort of bitterness that these police have not come out of. So anytime they see protesters, and that's the only time you see them well kitted.
Yeah.
When you see the policemen on the street, they are not as kitted as when they are going for a protest. You see the armor tank, the APC vehicles and all that, and you see them in their full regalia. And you're wondering, so you actually have this, sometimes you even see anti-bomb squad.
Yeah.
And you're wondering, so you actually have an anti-bomb squad. It's too much to bear, but seeing that 4 years on, we've not still come out of it. But let's have Femi Adeyeye. Femi Adeyeye, I do apologize, the network is trying to play a hanky-panky on us this morning. But it's glad to have you back.
All right, thank you very much for always managing me and my network.
So the first question is this. In your view, we are talking about #NSAS now. In your view, what is the most significant lesson that you think Nigeria should have learned by now from the NSAS movement?
Okay, when you mean I want to presume you mean the Nigerian states,
oh, yes.
the ruling class.
What
they should understand by now is that I think what they should understand by now is that the yearning for freedom, the yearning for liberty, the yearning for a revolution in Nigeria cannot be killed by guns. You roll out all the tanks, roll out all the bomb squad, like my gentle brother there just said, roll out all the tear gas canisters and everything. It's not going to stop the people from fighting for their rights. We've seen it. It has happened, from 2020 down to this time. They should by now, anyone would think that by now they should understand this simple fact and not repress protesters when they come out. But look at what happened on Sunday. People who have come out to say, you killed our fellow Nigerians, you killed them brutally in 2020. And now we're coming back 4 years after to memorialize these people, to remind you of the recommendations of your own panel. Remember, there was a judicial panel of inquiry that was inaugurated by the Lagos State government. It was not an independent panel in its, by my own estimation. It was even by the Lagos State government. And this panel found the government culpable of different, levels of crime and stated out over 27 recommendations. But as I speak to you today, none of those recommendations, not one, has been acceded to. Not one. And then you come back to say the people are not reasonable, that the people protesting are not opening space for dialogue. How do you open space with a bully? Someone who beats you at the slightest, chance. The protesters on Sunday have not protested for 10 minutes. for 10 minutes before they were, pounced upon, they were beaten. Azan Soweto was related. Women amongst them, they were sexually molested. As I speak to you, many of these comrades are now at different hospitals, trying to treat one injury or the other. So it goes to them that they've not learned anything. They are not interested in dialogue. They are not interested in fixing, the problem. So it is a case where the Nigerian state sees the people as enemies instead of, partners who are seeking, this progress. Do you get it? So that is where we are. They've not learned anything. Ideally, one would have thought that, okay, they would have come to that realization that even if you roll out all the tanks, you cannot stop people who are yearning for justice.
Femi, before Olumide comes in, the police came out yesterday to say that it had released all of the protesters that it had arrested. I don't know if you have that on good authority too. Are any of your comrades still in police custody because of the NSAS memorial?
None. They were released on that same day, when our lawyers swung into action and all that. But as we still speak to you, there are people who were arrested due to NSAS who are still languishing in prison. We've read out their names. We have the list as far back as 2 months ago when this whole issue came back again, and the police were denying that nobody is in prison or nobody is in detention due to NSAS. And we gave them names. That this person is still in detention due to NSAS. So we are asking that all these persons also should be released immediately. It's 4 years already, 4 years of torturing, a generation, of young people who are seeking freedom. So it's unconscionable. In fact, it's a crime against humanity. To what they've done, what they did at Lekki is, in fact, it's a crime that should never be pardoned, either on this earth or thereafter.
Right. So I would like to ask 2 questions. The first question is, you made mention of the Judicial Investigative Panel. Were there any recommendations made towards the NSAS protesters that were arrested? Were there any recommendations? Did they talk about it? Then secondly, do you think that the Lagos State government not being able to accede to the recommendations might also be the fact that if they do, it would be indirectly them admitting to what happened during the NSAS?
So they are just running from their shadows, which is not possible. They can't. So just like you've insinuated, agreeing to the recommendations or acceding to some of the recommendations of the panel would mean accepting that they killed Nigerians, which actually happened. So when people said, and that was my first tweet in this memorial, that nobody should ask who gave the order. I think that question has been so exhausted. In fact, it was exhausted on the street, exhausted by the media, exhausted even by the panel itself. The panel agreed that there was a massacre, and the people who gave the order, it was so clear. So Buhari gave the order to the military.
Do you have proof of that?
Definitely. Who controls the military? If the president says he did not give the order, in fact, he should have resigned immediately on that day.
Sorry to cut you.
Because that shows that you are incapacitated, you are not capable. Because why are you the commander of armed forces of Nigeria if you cannot tell us of the fact that you gave the order or you did not give the order? So that's not true. The president gave the order, someone who supervised the order, Seyi Tinubu, through those
these are bold allegations, but if I may come in,
yes, they know what I'm saying.
If I may come in, you remember that the military also said that Governor Sanwo-Olu was the one who invited them.
Supervised.
These are really bold allegations.
Exactly. General Umelu. Yes, and these people, they must, if they are not brought to justice, I think justice should be brought to them. This is it. The generals, there are some generals in that recommendations that did not attend the panel. And the panel recommended disciplinary actions against them because they frustrated the investigation. This was a panel that started for almost a year from witness to testify to what happened there. At some point, the military said they were going to Epe, and so they just had to pass through the place, and then nothing happened. At another account, they said they brought water for the protesters. At another account, they said yes, they shot, but it was blank bullets. Until the pathologist of Lagos State Chief Pathologist came and said 99 bodies. This is
99 bodies from the investigative panel. The network. I really like to get certain issues cleared with him. But we do apologize.
Like you said, these are bold allegations that he's making, and we would state here that there are allegations.
There are allegations, not from us. I'm trying as much as possible to really get more information and more proof, to ascertain if this is actually a statement of fact or just allegations. I also wanted he said 99, but I wanted to know whether it's part of the investigative panel's judgment or announcement or recommendation, what are their findings that 99 bodies were actually discovered during the NSAS protest. But it's really quite sad that till today, who gave the order has not been answered. And we will continue to, even though he said that the question has been exhausted, but we will continue to ask that question, who gave the order, because that's the closure every Nigerian needs to get. We need to know who actually
Yeah, but it's so important, closure. I like the fact that you used the word closure. Every Nigerian needs closure as regards the NSAS movement. But one of the questions I would have loved to ask Femi is this: since the Special Anti-Robbery Squad was disbanded, would you say that was the beginning of police reforms? Would you say that the NSAS movement achieved what it was originally formed for? And would you say that government is still committed to making more police reforms? It's one of the questions I would have loved to ask Femi Adeyeye.
Just days ago, I don't know whether I saw a viral video of a police officer, still alleged to have raped one lady. The video went viral. You could see the lady. I think she passed out on the chair, and it's quite sad that these are things that are still happening in the police force, and it's a whole lot. So that reform has to be 100%. It's not just disband the SARS and continue and do some other things, and you're having wanton killings here and there and all that. It has to be a total reform. Until the police see a civilian as their friend, as the one paying their salary, because that's basically it. That's where they are getting their salaries from. It's from tax, and people pay tax to government, and this is how the police is being run and all that. And it's so sad when you still go to a police station, you hear them saying they do not even have power. They don't even have generator. And it's quite sad. I remember one of our analysts said he has never seen a computer in a police station. That's how bad it is. In this year, 2024, no computer in a police station.
I think it was Ufeli.
I think, yes.
I remember we were together on this platform when he said it, and that's very unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate. So how do you have data? How can you, it's still analog they are using. You go to the police station and it's still, they have this register and all that. So how do you, so if, for instance, God forbid, it's been gulped by fire, you lose all records. That's what it's basically saying, and it's really quite sad that 4 years on we're still having a lot of things. But I do apologize. First of all, I do want to apologize for the network issue. I mean, of course, we are in Nigeria. We know what the network is really doing to us. But someday we will get there. We will have stable network and reliant network. I want to apologize to everyone watching. But this is how much we can take on this particular segment. Stick around. We have trending coming up shortly.
roads alone, as I speak to you, we have not less than 25 schools to be rehabilitated. Because you can't believe it that in a city like Abuja, you just go to the schools, you ask yourself, is it Abuja at all? It's quite unfair. And so we have taken upon ourselves, that our schools will be like schools. That anybody who goes to those schools will say, yes, indeed, we're in a very good schools. And that's the way it's supposed to be. In terms of security, let me say clearly now, we have declared war. Abuja is turning to beggar city. If you know you have a sister, you have a brother who is a beggar on the road, please, from next week, we will carry them. We will take them out. It is embarrassing that people will come in, the first thing they say are just beggars on the road. Sometimes too, they may not be beggars, they may be criminals pretending to be beggars. We will not allow that. So I'm giving you a public holiday from now to Sunday. From Monday, we will pack them out. Let us know that we have a city that we can call a city. It's very embarrassing. We are fighting insecurity. And people will carry plates as if they are, maybe they may be informants. So please, have it at the back of your mind. That it's not only infrastructure. We want you to give you good security so you can sleep well with your two eyes closed. I know that some of you may not be happy. Sometimes we don't need to make you happy. Sometimes we don't need to. What is important is that we must do our work. If you're not happy, well, that's what we can do. But for the overall interest of the people, it's
Welcome back. That was the Sheriff of the Federal Capital Territory, Minister of FCT, that's Nyesom Wike, telling Nigerians, if you have a brother or sister begging in Abuja, he's giving you from now till Sunday, and by Monday they would, what even it's really appalling is that you could hear in the background, people were laughing when he was saying this. It's not funny. It's not funny. People don't just wake up in the morning to go beg. It's where we're at right now. And just like we said earlier on in the newspaper review, I mean, it's not something for you to just say you're going to pack them. And where are you taking them to? Are you going to provide something better for them? Are you going to liaise with the governor and tell them, okay, fine, this is what we want to do? I remember during the former administration of Governor Raji Fashola, something similar like that happened, and he picked up some beggars and took them. But there was an arrangement for that. And
in his own case, he was the one that transported them back to the
Thank you. He did that on his own. So you're just saying that you're just going to carry them, and who knows where you're going to. Anyway, are you going to put them in the correctional or IDP camps, or are you just going to put them outside Abuja, maybe probably, where's the next place after Abuja?
Nasarawa. There's Kefi.
You know. Are you going to just place them there, or are you going to take them, each of them, to their state and all that?
What's the plan? But this is also to let the viewer know that it is not that event is not happening now like you saw on the news bar. This happened previously. But one of the things that the FCT minister said was that these beggars, some of them are informants. He also labeled some of them as criminals. So could it be that the FCT minister has some form of intel?
I hope so.
That we don't have?
Now, if he does, liaise with you have the police.
Exactly.
You have the DSS. You have every other. So I feel it's almost frivolous for him to be concerned about this. Just tell the FCT police commissioner.
The suspects.
Pick them up.
And then carry out an investigation.
Tell the DSS, you have the NIA, you have all of them there. Just tell them to, you don't have to come on there and tell them you're giving them 5 days. And why not just, do it and come out and say, okay, this is what we did. So this I mean, it's just quite interesting why Wike, does these things, and a lot of people are seeing him to be overdoing, things these days.
But this is not to say we do not understand that Abuja is a mega city and the FCT minister is trying to do his job.
Yes.
But just like former President Olusegun said, implementation of these policies must be spot on.
It actually matters.
Yeah.
I think this is how much we can take right now. We'll go on a short break, and while we're at it, we'll take the weather forecast. We'll be right back.
So Enugu today is mostly sunny, mostly clear, partly cloudy. So you guys in the east, have fun outdoors today. And this is where we get to call it wraps on the show. Big thanks to everyone who contributed to making the show a success. But a bigger thanks to you for watching. And Michael, big shout out to you for calling in. Until I come your way again, I am Vivian Oguche, and have a fantastic day ahead. Bye.
Also, special thanks to all our guests who made it possible, and we do also apologize for the network issue. Don't forget, you can also follow us on all our social media handles at High Impact Studios, at High Impact TV, and the Breakfast Cafe _. Until tomorrow, have yourself a lovely day.
Prospicians, Prospicians, Prospicians.